Settle back wherever you are and slow down. Just let everything in your body relax. And gently close your eyes and just feel your body. Let go of all tension in the body. And notice the breath. Let the breath calm down. And relax the belly muscles so that the breath can fall deep in the lungs. And look for any tension, anywhere in the body, anything about you that is uncomfortable, make it comfortable. The easiest way to get into a deep meditation is by completely relaxing away from everything. Relaxing is vital to going deep beyond the mind. And that's really what meditation is we take our awareness out of our minds and we go deeper, we go wider, we expand into that universal consciousness where we all exist. And that's why it's so easily overlooked by everyone, because no one thinks to look inside when you're silent. In Zen, there's a famous saying, true emptiness reveals miraculous being. And I think when you first hear that term, it sounds a little confusing. You wonder what it means. But actually, if you just do that, if you try that experience of relaxing and listening and feeling, all that's left is being. When the mind stops, awareness is there. Check in your own experience. Right now, give your full attention to any thoughts that might be arising in your mind. And when there's no thoughts, aren't you still there? In fact, that's the real you, the one that meditation is designed to get to. At first, the mind wants to get involved and say, hey, there's nothing there, but it's obvious. You're there in an aware state. I call that the seat of awareness. That's when the mind is still and awareness is shining. And it's really that simple. In order to become that being that we're all looking for, it's as simple as relax, feel, and listen. Because that takes you out of the stream of thought. Noticing stillness, you enter meditation, or you enter that being state. Listening is a wonderful way of experiencing being. Who is it that's listening? That's the deep I. It's not the mind. The mind might want to chime in and say it's me, because the mind wants us to identify with it. But you are not your mind. What's aware in you can be aware of the thoughts of the mind, can be aware of the mind, so it's obvious that awareness is something other than mind itself. So what is that? And why can't we talk about it? It's much like in the Tao. The first line of the Tao is, if it can be spoken of, it's not the Tao. But you're there, alert, aware, and as an awareness in the body and mind, you use the body to experience the world. It's awareness that sees through your eyes. It's awareness that hears through your ears. It's awareness that knows what you're thinking. But that awareness is not the mind. It's an unnameable, unknowable, other than being it. And that's why we use the term being. So stepping from thinking to being. And the mind will say, well, what good is that? But it's ultimately important for us to know ourselves, to know that we're more than just our mind and our bodies. And the benefit of that is you become fearless. The more you practice stepping out of your mind and body and being awareness, the more liberated you feel, the more you don't feel like a small me trapped in a little body on a big planet with lots of other people. You realize through regular practice of stepping back like this, that is where we're all connected. What's conscious in me is also what's conscious in you. So we don't have to do anything now. In fact, the best way is to relax and feel and listen, to let go of any tension, any thoughts, any distractions, but stay aware. And you're still connected to your mind and to your ears and to your eyes and to all the senses. But we're just not talking. Let the mind take a break from its internal dialogue. And notice how that feels. It never not feels good to me. Anytime I let go of the stream of thinking, let go of thought, and step back into being aware, it immediately puts me at ease. And it puts me into that cosmic consciousness of everything, recognizing that, yes, I have a body and a mind and I have a life, but I am also so much more. I am an infinite being, part of the infinite cosmic consciousness, always connected. It's what's aware in us. It's aware in every single person and thing, all animals. So what is it that can be aware in billions of different objects? It's you. You are part of that cosmic consciousness. You are the big realization. And it's as simple as just stepping back from being little me into being the cosmic self, being. Words can't describe it, but you can know it by doing it. And that's why I like to relax, feel, and listen as many times as I can throughout the day, because it reminds me who I am and that I am much more than just Steve Gillum with his life and problems. And there's a great security in that. Knowing that through experience, you do lose your fear of annihilation, of death, of losing. It's the ego and the mind that feels separate and alone. But being is never alone. It's connected with everything. And it is the source of love. It is love itself. And it's peace. And it's always there in the background. Even in the worst upsets, being is there. Now, the interesting thing about being is Being doesn't speak, it communicates through stillness. We discover our true being, our true self, when our minds are still. So for the rest of our time now, let's just rest in that stillness. And you may notice that the mind will try to draw you out and attach itself to make a self out of the mind. And that's really what meditation is designed to do, is to pull your true self out of the identification of being a small mind. And it doesn't take years, despite what so many people think. Anyone can do it anytime. Anytime you watch your thoughts, who is it that can watch the thought? It's obviously other. It's the awareness in you. So for the rest of our time, let's just relax and listen and feel, not resisting anything. And wherever you are, and whatever your surroundings bring for this hour, just stay in being. And if the mind pulls you in, notice it. And it'll try, and it probably will succeed several times throughout our meditation. But each time you let go of that identification with the mind, you become stronger. You become more conscious. And the more conscious you become, the more aware you are of your thoughts. And it won't take you long to realize that, yes, it's true, your thoughts are creating your reality. When you're worried, you even say, I am worried. I am lonely. I am sad. I am mad. All of these things, notice we make an identity of them. But what's conscious in us is truly never identified with them. That's the Maya. And that's the nature of consciousness. That's why we enjoy movies. Watching a movie or a television program, what happens? What's conscious in us takes on the life of what we're viewing. So it becomes pretty obvious that who I am, this consciousness that's the deep I, can enter anything. I can become any movie, any story. And the more you experience that separation of not being the mind, the more stable you become in every situation. The highs are never quite as high, but the lows are never quite as low either. You start to develop what they talk about in the Bhagavad Gita as equanimity. Because what's aware in us doesn't judge anything. It's our minds that judge. What's aware in us is just aware. It's silently taking it all in. And to what's aware, tragedy is just as important as a comedy or a love story. It's all just experience. So as you sit in that seat of awareness, you start to have power over the experiences that you seek, rather than being a victim of what your mind thinks. You can change your thoughts. And just, it's simple little test. The next time you're worried or anxious, notice it. That's an awakening in itself. What's conscious in you has awakened from being the thought to being aware of the thought. And from that position, awareness, you can change the thought. So whatever you're worried about, you can substitute another thought, or you can just be aware of stillness. In the beginning, I think it's helpful to substitute thoughts of gratitude. That always lifts your spirit. It always is pleasant. And we all have so many things to be grateful for. That's an easy way out of worry. But you have to be more conscious when the mind is dipping into sadness or worry. And that's the ideal time to relax and feel and listen and step out of thought. Now let's just let there be some space. And even when I'm speaking, be the space. Don't talk to me in your mind. Just listen. Notice all that you're aware of. No stories about what you're aware of. Just being aware of whatever's there. Fully acknowledging this present moment. When you're aware, and present in the moment, you're untouchable. You're peaceful. You're content. You are infinite love. Feel it. It's not some kind of excitement. It's more like a deep contentment. It's your true nature. All of our upsets, just like all of our problems, are thoughts. Now, the mind and ego will want to argue with that and say, no, there's situations always that are upsetting. Upsetting to who? So you could say meditation is giving the present moment Whatever is in the present moment, your full attention. Breathing is always the present moment, so you can let your awareness rest on breathing or listening, feeling. All present moment experiences. It anchors you in the now. So choose one and focus your awareness on it, maybe the breath or listening, two of my favorites. And you can be aware of both of them at the same time. Awareness is unlimited. Just no story. Notice if the mind gets anxious. It's not uncommon for your mind to become anxious and feel squirmish as you step back into being. It can even feel as if you're dying. That's good. That's the ego. And it only exists as a story. And stories are never alive. So why should a story fear death? Hopefully you're getting the picture. You are beyond mind and thought. You're beyond all life and death. You are the life in all things, eternal. The life that is in every form is you. And that's why a true guru is unconditional love always, equally loving to the sinner as to the saint, completely non judgmental. See clearly that only the mind that judges. What's aware in us is always at ease unless it's completely identified with thinking. You're experiencing it now. Anytime you relax, feel, and listen and step back from the thinking mind and body, you become universal self. Big mind, whatever you want to call it. When you let go of form, what is there to fear? You can take any form. You can take all forms. Because all forms exist in awareness.
Shanti.
Notice if you're getting any static at your location, how does your mind react to it? How do you react to it? If you stay in the seat of awareness, nothing matters. Through practice, you recognize that even if the universe disappears, you're still there. You experience that exact thing every night in deep sleep. Every night when you go into deep sleep, the universe completely disappears. And you are just that cosmic ocean of awareness. And immediately after you awaken, you've actually gone to sleep. You've entered the dream of being you, small me, life situations. Think of all the billions of people that have gone before us. Where do they go? How did you get in this body? Didn't you just wake up in it one day, just like we wake up every day? So in a way, our Steve Gillum is like a 70-year-old dream. a reoccurring dream that I have each night. My true nature is cosmic awareness, formless, infinite. My form is disintegrating more each day, but the awareness of me, the inner experience of I am, is just as fresh as the day I was born. Check your own experience. I have never gotten any older. Look at each moment. No moment can be held on to. They're simply stories passing through now. What I heard a minute ago or a second ago is gone. The thought I had, the body I had 10 years ago doesn't exist. Every cell in your body is new. Not one cell from 10 years ago is there. So, in a way, you've died many times, even in this lifetime. You die every night. Notice that that's nothing to believe in. It's not selling you something. That's your experience. Why don't we pay more attention to our experience? We get lost in the movie of our lives. And just like watching a movie in the theater, the more exciting it is or the more upsetting it is, the more attached we become. So, practicing relaxing and feeling and listening takes you out of that every time. Even if it's just for a few seconds, you wake up and you realize, oh, yeah, this is just the dream. It's a dream of my life, my story, my problems. But what's aware in me is still as fresh and young as the day I was born when I step back. So, who am I and what is reality? The only two real questions. for any human being. And try not to look to books and theories, but look to your own experience. That's where you'll know. You won't have to believe anything. Is your mind active now? Step back from it. Relax, feel, and listen. Notice the stillness. Let the deep peace of being come in. Come into your physical body and your mind. That's how your mind becomes more conscious. The more you can open up to the stillness and get out of the dialogue and identification with the mind, the more the mind becomes enlightened, the more the mind is a useful tool. After all, your mind is creating your reality. Why not create a better reality? Start to weed out moments of worry and anxiety and replace them with gratitude, happiness. There's some good shows on YouTube on the TED Talks about happiness. I think I've sent them to a few of you. An interesting thing about the talks is in his research, happiness stays the same in the people, whether they win the lotto or become a quadriplegic. After so many years, I forget what it was, I think 2 years or 3 years, they record that their happiness returned to the same level that it was 3 years ago, despite these big life-changing events. So where is happiness? Where is contentment? If you're identified with the mind, contentment is almost never there. It's there for a few fleeting moments when you achieve something, graduate, get a house, buy a car, all of the things that bring us those momentary seconds of happiness. But it's not long before our minds go on in search of more happiness, something else. None of that's true happiness. Look at your experience when you relax, feel, and listen. It's not a giddy kind of happiness, it's a deep contentment. Let the stillness that's the background of all things come forward and be the thing that you are aware of. Hardly anybody is aware of the stillness that's always there. We pay attention to the things in stillness, like the stars in the sky. We pay attention to the sky or to the stars, but not the sky itself, the deep void. Why not make an identity of this deep peace of inner stillness? And sure, it's fun to get caught up in my life and my problems and my experiences and adventures, but it's so much more enjoyable when you know who you are. It's like knowing you're safe on a roller coaster, even though it seems wildly out of control. You have an inner peace that enjoys the ride. If you truly thought it was out of control, you would panic and it would not be fun at all. That's the way most people's lives are, completely identified with every high and low. The constant fear of death in the background. Who's afraid of death? It's only the mind. Yet you're not afraid of going to sleep. So just take a look at your experience today. The question, who am I? And what's conscious in me? What's my mind? Am I my mind? It's pretty obvious when you step back and look at your thoughts. You are not your mind. Your mind is like your computer. You don't think you're your computer, do you? They do similar functions. full of intelligence and thoughts and ideas and things. But you don't make an identity of your computer. So meditation is a way for you to experience that your true identity is not this body and this mind. They're your vehicle for experience. So don't wait years to wake up. Wake up every day. Question your thoughts. Question reality. And whenever you're ready, gently open your eyes and see that you can have the same awareness, be the seed of awareness, with your eyes open, experiencing life as Steve Gillum in my case. And never fully let your awareness come back and identify with. Stay in that seed of awareness throughout your day as much as you can. And that's why I use the 3 steps of relax, feel, and listen, because that always wakes me up, takes me out of being Steve Gillum and being the bigger awareness that we all are. So practice, practice, practice. There's an awakening happening all over the planet. More and more people and scientists. The scientists are really the awakening right now. The physicists and the biologists and all of the Deepak Chopras and the Tom Campbells and Peter Russell, all these brilliant scientific minds through deductive logic have realized who they are. And you don't have to be a brilliant scientist to realize who you are. You can do it as well. Just look at the facts. Stay with your experience. So I hope this helps, and try to remember every time you practice, every time you step out of thoughts, you make it easier for others to step out of thoughts. It breaks the ice, if you will. And there's more people alive today than ever before. That number is exponentially rising every day of people that realizing who they are, seeing a bigger picture. And we need that awakening in order to survive. If we leave the ego running the world, it's pretty obvious the world will probably flick us off, or else we'll destroy the world and make it uninhabitable. My money's on the world.